Hey you guys, it's ISAIDWHATISAIDOK here, and this is the third part of my X-Men in the MCU fan cast. First, I want to say thank you for 600 views on the first part of this series. This is a huge milestone for me and I'm so thankful. It's my most viewed video on the channel. If you haven't watched it yet, it is on the channel and in the playlist, so give it a watch if you're interested. Let's get right into it with the 90s cast of the X-Men. We're going to start with Storm, aka Aurora Monroe. This character has always been iffy for me because as a black woman, I love the representation that she brings and how powerful she is. But if you only watch the movies like I did when I was younger, Storm was sidelined and underutilized. I also feel like the actresses that were picked didn't feel like Storm should. I believe that Marvel needs to pick a dark-skinned black woman for this role because that is how Storm has always been depicted in the comics, yet Fox chose to pick two mixed women. And this has to be remedied and hopefully my pick can do this. But first, let's go through some actresses that I think could work, but I ultimately wouldn't go with. We have Janelle Monáe. If you watched my previous videos, then you know that I'm prone for a younger cast. X-Men Evolution did have Storm as an older mentor character, but I feel like that take her out of the main story, and I really want to see her best friendship with Jean in the mutual respect and second command relationship she has with Cyclops. Still, this X-Men Evolution style choice could fit. Janelle is 35, but her real downfall for me is that she is 5 foot, which makes her much shorter than the rest of my cast and a lot shorter than I would want for Storm. Next, we have Yaya DaCosta. A few years ago, when YouTubers were fan casting for Storm, the most popular pick I saw by far was Yaya from Chicago Fire. She is 38 and also fits the X-Men Evolution style vibe. This pick for me is mostly based off looks because she looks great with white hair, but I can't see it. Hot take, I could also see her working as Moira McTaggart as well with my pick of Lance Reddick. Now we are moving on to Jodie Turner-Smith. She has been on so many fan casts that I've seen, and I used to be on board with this pick, but that was before I had seen her in anything. And I saw her in a movie called Without Remorse starring Michael B. Jordan that came out on Amazon. And I honestly think she was really bad in it. Comment down below what you think of her performance in that movie. Me personally, it was just not good. However, look-wise, she would be a good choice, but that is obviously not enough. Storm is such a powerful character, and I feel like we need a powerhouse actress to play her, and one that can command a presence. I want to do some quick mentions of Chloe Bailey, whose sister Halle Bailey was chosen to be Ariel in The Little Mermaid. They are both in a show called Grownish, and I wasn't particularly impressed with their acting, but they didn't distract me. She's also 23, which would fit for the younger cast and has a Disney connection because of her sister being Ariel and being on Freeform, which is owned by Disney. There's also an actress named Ryan Destiny, who's 26. This is another look-based pick, and it's because of her being young. She is absolutely beautiful and striking to look at. She's in a show called Star, which was owned by Fox, which is now owned by Disney, so there is a connection there. Obviously, we all wanted Lupita Nyong'o to be Storm, but Marvel cast her as Nakia in Black Panther. And as we see in Loki, Marvel is not scared to combine two characters from the comics, so I was thinking that maybe Lupita's character could develop powers one day and then take on the name Storm. What do you think of that option? Finally, we have made it to my actual pick, who is Kiki Layne. This actress has been campaigning for the role since X-Men Apocalypse came out. She is 29 and 5'9". She looks very young, so I think she could still fit in with the younger cast, but as a woman who's more experienced but still on their level. You may have seen her in The Old Guard, If Beale Street Could Talk, and Coming to America too. In Coming to America, she played an African princess, and she sported a pretty good African accent, so I don't think that would be a problem, unlike Halle Berry. I really liked her in that movie, and I felt like she was already playing Storm. I also heard a rumor a few months back that Marvel was looking at her to be in Blade. Now, Marvel has a history of casting people into lesser roles when they could have just waited and saved them for the actual role that they were meant to play. But if she was going to be in Blade, I'm thinking it would probably be as Elsa Bloodstone, and she would kill it in that role as well. But back to her being Storm. Her sister in If Beale Street Could Talk was Dominique Thorne, who was recently cast as Ironheart for the MCU, and our own Monica Rambeau, Tiana Paris, was also in that movie, so it seems to me that Marvel is looking at that movie for casting. Sounds like an end to me. So again, my final choice is Kiki Lane as Aurora Monroe Storm. Let's move on to another underutilized character from the X-Men movies, Nightcrawler. I love this character. He's the moral heart of the X-Men. He's very religious. This is also good representation because we don't often see deeply religious characters in movies unless they're the bad guys. Nightcrawler in the comics has always been like cute to me, and in the movies he always looks so weird, and I want the MCU to bring me hot Nightcrawler. They just didn't do much with him in the Fox movies. The first option is Robert Sheehan, Klaus from the Umbrella Academy. I love that character so much. Klaus and Five, who may be appearing later, were my favorite characters on that show, and his performance, especially in season 2, I was going back and forth between who was my favorite character. I really like him as an actor, and he shined so much in that show. Plus, look at him. I think he could pull off Pirate Nightcrawler so well. This next pick is very unlikely, but I'll mention him anyway. This actor is Timothée Chalamet. He's just too big of an actor to be buried under all that makeup and prosthetics, but with bone structure like that, he could absolutely give us hot Nightcrawler. My dream role for him was Kid Loki, but if you watch Loki, that obviously did not come to pass. I also feel like he would be an amazing older version of Wiccan from WandaVision, and I'm sure that Marvel will try to get him soon. Next we have George McKay from 1917, who I think would be an inspired choice for Nightcrawler. He has an interesting but still attractive face, but I do feel like he, out of all these actors, could get lost under all the makeup. 1917 was an Oscar level movie, so I thought that I would mention him. Now my top 2 picks were close for me, but when I saw my final pick actor, I thought he looked exactly like Nightcrawler from the House of X comic book run. So my runner-up actor is one that I would love to show up soon in the MCU, Aidan Gallagher, aka Five from Umbrella Academy. He has teleportation experience. Let's get him in there. I was thinking that maybe Nightcrawler would be one of the younger students at the school and could be mentored by the older students. Aiden is 17, so he would fit really well into a school setting. And like many of my other Nightcrawler options, he has great bone structure that would shine through under the makeup. Like I said earlier, Five is my favorite character on Umbrella Academy, and Aiden can act. He is so good, and he has the most commanding presence on that show. Just the way he walks is top-rate acting. He was my choice all the way until I thought of this next actor. My final choice for Nightcrawler in the MCU is Fionn Whitehead from Bandersnatch on Netflix and Dunkirk. He is 25 and 5'9". I saw this picture of him and I said, hold on, wait a minute. And I put it right beside Nightcrawler from Hawks and Pox. Fionn Whitehead looks exactly like him. Plus, his performance in Bandersnatch was so good, especially for being an interactive movie. He's just the pick for me, guys. He looks weird, but in an interesting and attractive way. And as you can see from my edit, he looks so good in blue. He is the choice. Absolutely perfect in my opinion. So again, my pick for MCU Nightcrawler is Fionn Whitehead. Just look at him. Okay, now we have Rogue. Be forewarned, I have a lot of choices for this character. I've been rewatching the 90s animated series and I love that version of Rogue. Why they decided to go the route they did with her in the Fox movies, I do not know. With Rogue, you have two options: Southern Belle 90s Rogue or X-Men Evolution style Goth Rogue. Tell me which Rogue you prefer in the comments down below, because I would pick Southern Belle Rogue every day. I also really hope she's in Captain Marvel 2, so we can get that infamous storyline from the comics and her awesome powers. And now, let's start with some picks. Alexandra Daddario. So many people have her as their picks, and I think that she would be a really good choice. I recently saw her in a movie called Songbird, and I did like her in it. I don't know, she just doesn't scream Rogue to me, like either version really. But she's a lot of people's top pick, so let me know what you think. And next we have Nikki Romo, who plays young Georgia in Ginny and Georgia, and I definitely think she could work. She's 21, so she could fit into the younger age range, and I think that she did a great southern accent in the show, so I really wanted to mention her. Christine Frozeth from Looking for Alaska is 25, so she fits into my age range. She's also very pretty, and I really liked her as the main character in Looking for Alaska, which is on Hulu, which is majority owned by Disney, so she has a connection there. That show took me on an emotional roller coaster, and it was set in Alabama, so she did do a bit of a southern accent. I also think that she could fit Kitty Pryde, but I definitely see her more as a young Rogue. What do you think? Now we have Yara Shahidi from Blackish and Grownish, and she will also be Tinkerbell in Disney's new Peter Pan. So she's my next choice up. She is 21 and 5'3". And 5'3" is a bit of a problem because I think Rogue as a taller woman. And I saw a rumor from Disney that they were looking for her to be in an X-Men project. So I think Rogue would be the best fit for her out of all the characters. Maybe Kitty, but really I think Rogue's a better choice. Now we have Elizabeth Gillies from Dynasty and Victorious. I grew up on Victorious, so I have a special place in my heart for Jade. She would definitely fit more into the goth Rogue side of things, but I am iffy on this pick. I just really don't see it. Another goth Rogue pick would be Sophia Carson from Descendants and Songbird as well. I liked her a lot in Songbird, but she really didn't have much to do in that movie. I can't help but say that this is a pick based on looks, but I do like her in everything that I've seen her in, but she hasn't had a breakout role, and maybe this could be it. Descendants is from Disney, so she does have an in there, and I think that she has a striking resemblance to X-Men Evolution's version of Rogue. Next we have Debbie Ryan from Sweet Life on Deck, Jessie, Radio Rebel, and Netflix's Insatiable. Debbie is a Disney darling. Jessie is always trending on Disney Plus. I'm sure Disney knows this and will want to bring her back in something. She was also known as being the Southern girl on Sweet Life on Deck, so I know she can give us that Southern accent. She is 28. She's 5'5", and I've wanted her to have a big breakout role forever, and this could be it. She is Southern Belle Rogue to a T, and she was my undeniable top pick. But then I saw someone else, and I can't get that other actress out of my mind. Anyway, Debbie Ryan would be great as Rogue in the MCU. I think once you hear my final pick, you will be just as torn as I am, and let me know which one of them you would pick in the comments down below. I've got one Rogue choice who I think would be amazing. That is Ella Balinska from Charlie's Angels. She has a really sweet face that I feel like would fit Southern Belle Rogue, but she also has the edginess that could work for Goth Rogue as well. She also looks very strong, and I feel like she would look great in the costume. She's 24, so that fits in with my younger cast. She's also 5'10", which would make her very tall for the women on my list. But Rogue is a powerhouse character, and most of my male characters are 6 foot and up, so it should be fine. My Storm pick is 5'9", so it'll work. This pick is mostly based off looks, but I do think that she does look great for it. And Ella really moved up on my list just because she looks so much like the 90s version of Rogue. She even has a gap in her teeth that just screams Southern to me. She's British, so I do worry if she can do a Southern accent, because that is so crucial from the character being from Mississippi. That representation is very important. And with Debbie being from Alabama and then moving to Texas, I feel like she could definitely bring that Southern accent. So that's one place where she might be above Ella. I had so many picks for Rogue that I mentioned everyone on my list. I've gone back and forth on this final choice because Ella Balinska's face is just so perfect, but Debbie would be the more traditional choice. Let me know what you think and which one of these ladies you would pick. Again, we have Ella Balinska as Anna Marie Darkholme, aka Rogue in the MCU. Every Rogue needs their Gambit, except for Fox's Rogue for some reason. But I absolutely love Gambit. He's just so charming, and you need an actor that can really bring that. He's an attractive man type of guy. He's also an iconic ladies man with a soft spot for a woman he can't even touch. I obviously can't guess two actors' chemistry, but you can see how two people look beside each other. Anyway, let's move into some potential options. First up is Garrett Hedlund from Tron. Brown with a red tinge hair color that Gambit has is also what Garrett has. He doesn't photograph the best, but I feel like he looks better on camera. This is also a look-based pick, but he could work. What do you think? Luke Bracey is another look-based pick. He's from Hacksaw Ridge and Point Break. I haven't personally seen him in anything, but looking at his face, I could see him playing Gambit. Someone else also mentioned him on their list, and he does fit look-wise. So, I thought, why not mention him? Okay, let's go on to Brenton Thwaites. He's on a show called Titans, and he's the only reason I still watch that show. He is a great actor, and like Gambit, he is very attractive, and he would eat this role up. That scene in Titans where he and Corey hooked up for the first time has Gambit written all over it. I also think he will look very good with Ella. And he's 31, he's 6 foot, so he's the youngest actor on my Gambit list. I made a fan edit of this, and he looks very good for it. I feel like he doesn't really look like a Robin or a Nightwing to me just because of the lighter hair. But for Gambit, it's a yes. Okay, so now we have my second place Gambit choice. In between Britton and this actor, I had a very difficult decision to make. So many people have chosen him, but I feel like he could be a perfect fit for Gambit. Gaspard Ulliel is a French actor, so we don't have to worry about the iconic Cajun accent. He's 36 and 5'10", but he is all the attractiveness that Gambit needs. He was in Hannibal Rising, and I saw him in a Macy's commercial, and he did a really good job in that commercial. I'm really second guessing this choice because Britain and my final pick would both be so good, maybe even better than Gaspard. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I originally chose Gaspard, but I wanted to pick someone different from someone else, and I have so much admiration for the acting ability of my final choice. But so many people seem to agree with this pick of Gaspard, so I wanted to mention him, of course, and have him as a very high contender for the role of Gambit. Now we have my final Gambit choice, which is Oliver Jackson Cohen, who should have been Moon Knight in the MCU, but since he didn't get it, he can be Gambit, who is arguably a cooler character. He is 6'3" and 34. He looks so much like Gambit from the 90s cartoon. He's in the Invisible Man, Blind Manor, and Hill House. I still remember that scene where he was talking about his sister over her grave at the funeral, and I watched it with my mom and she started crying. That's just how powerful of an actor he is. And in Blind Manor, he was being a ladies' man and he was giving the romance in that show. I really like this pick. He had 2 different accents in Blind Manor and Hill House, so I think that he can give us a very good Cajun accent. Gambit has always came off as a grown man, so I'm fine with him being a little older than the rest of my cast. And I do think there should be a bit of an age difference between him and Rogue. I also think that him and Ella would be really cute. And I really talked myself into picking him. He was 3rd after Britain and Gaspard, but he really moved up on my list just because I admire his acting abilities so much, and I think that he would eat up this role. So again, I would pick Oliver Jackson Cohen as Gambit in the MCU. Next character up is Kitty Pryde. Another one that in the Fox movies, she wasn't used well enough. Her storyline just revolved around Rogue and Bobby, and that's weird for me. Her in Days of Future Past was also weird because that's not her power set at all. And it would have been so cool if a time displaced Rachel Summers had showed up and played that role. My first choice in this would be Millie Bobby Brown, just because I think that she is the obvious choice. And we've all heard the rumors that she's talked to Marvel. I love her in Stranger Things, but I really think that Sprite in the Eternals was her role. She could be a great Kitty Pryde, but it's not the most interesting choice in my opinion. What do you guys think? Let's move on to Sarah Weisglass from Ginny and Georgia. Her character on that show gives off the same energy that Kitty does. Also, she plays a lesbian on that show, and Kitty in the comics is sometimes bisexual, so I would love to have that representation. She's also adorable, and her character is a little annoying on the show, but on Instagram and in the interviews I've seen of Sarah, I really like her and her personality. Madison Bailey is next. She's from Outer Banks on Netflix. She may not have played an LGBT character on the show, but she does have a girlfriend in real life. I really want Marvel to play with Kitty being bisexual because it wasn't touched on in the movies and it's barely in the comics. I really like what it adds to the character. Madison was really good on that show, and the representation that she could bring really works for me and has pushed her up on my list. Also, I just like her in that show, and I think that she would make a good Kitty Pryde. From another Netflix production, we have Ella Purnell from Army of the Dead. For starters, her character was so annoying in that movie, and she got everyone killed. With that withstanding, I like her as an actress, and I like her look. When I was watching the movie, I felt like I was watching Kitty Pryde. Aesthetic-wise, she has bangs, and I really like bangs on Kitty for some reason. And I think that she would do a great job, and I liked her in that movie. Her performance, at least. So Ella Parnell as Kitty Pryde. My final pick for Kitty Pryde in the MCU is Odeya Rush. She was in The Giver and Lady Bird, but I mostly know her from Goosebumps with Jack Black. I really like that movie and she did a great job. I really like her and her look. She is Israeli and Jewish, and Kitty is known for being Jewish in the comics. This works for accurate representation. Odeya is 24 and she's 5'4", so she would fit in with my younger cast. And I think that 5'4" is a good height for Kitty. She's also just really cute and I love her energy. She would be a great Kitty Pryde and is my final choice. So again, we have Odeya Rush as Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat in the MCU. Now we have Colossus. I don't have many choices here because young Russian actors are hard to come by, but I wanted to put him in here next to Kitty Pryde. Deadpool Colossus was very cool, and I was happy that the character did have the Russian accent, and they could bring back Steven Kapich and change the character design a bit and just have him voice. Personally, I think that Florian Montanou would have been a great choice, but he's Razor Fist in Shang-Chi now, which is another example of Marvel wasting a great actor. Just like David Harbour in Black Widow, he was so good in that movie because he's good in everything that he's in, but imagine him as Beast or the Thing from Fantastic Four would have been so great. Anyway, I only have 3 choices, and the first up is Danila Kozlovsky from Vampire Academy. He is 36 and 6 foot. He would be around the same age as my Gambit, so we can have an older Acolytes type of group in the X-Mansion, or him and Gambit can be working for Magneto at first. He is actually Russian, so that's a huge plus for him, but I wouldn't ultimately pick him unless it was just going to be voice acting over a CGI role. But I do love that Colossus can switch back and forth, and I want a romance between him and Kitty. What do you think about him? Anyway, next up we have Rome Flynn. He is 6 foot and 29, and he looks like he works out. Physically, I think that he could play the role. He could do a Russian accent maybe. In the original X-Men movies, they didn't really focus on him being Russian. He's in How to Get Away with Murder and Raising Dion. I mean, he won an Emmy for The Bold and the Beautiful. I think that he would definitely be an interesting pick. Plus, him and Odeya Rush could be an attractive couple. Next and finally, there's Spencer Boldman from Lab Rats and Cruise. He is 6'2" and 28. I'm a Disney kid at heart, and I absolutely love Lab Rats as a kid. I'm not sure if he's done much work since then, but I think he looks great for Colossus. Rome is a more out of the box, let's do something different kind of choice. And Spencer is a classic big Russian dude type of Colossus, even though he's not actually Russian. So yeah, my choice is Spencer Boldman as MCU Pyotr Rasputin Colossus. And I also hope that they use that pronunciation of his name, Pyotr. I want them to use it. I want him to have a relationship with Magic, played by Anya Taylor-Joy. That would be so good. I would love that. Anyway, Spencer Boldman, Colossus in the MCU. What do you guys think about that? And who would you personally choose? Be sure to leave your list in the comments down below because I want to know what you guys think before we move on to our very last character who everyone has been waiting for, which is the Wolverine. For starters, he was so overused in the Fox X-Men movies that no other character really got any character development or a chance to shine. The movies were mostly about him, so I think that he should be separate from the rest of the X-Men cast. at least until the second movie, preferably the third. I heard rumors about an anthology Disney Plus series showing his origin up until he meets the show that would maybe run concurrently with the movies. Would you rather have a Wolverine solo movie or a Disney Plus show? I feel like they could do both, but I prefer a movie. We need to completely set up Jean and Scott's relationship and Scott growing into a leader before Wolverine can come in and shake it up. Let's move on to casting. Josh Hutcherson, aka PETA from the Hunger Games, is first up. Height is extremely important for Wolverine, so I wanted to try to find shorter actors. My Cyclops pick, Jacob Elordi, is 6'5", so we can still get that iconic shot of them. It also makes sense for Wolverine to be older than the rest of the cast because he's like 180 years old. Josh is 28 and 5'7", which is also the same height as Abby Cohen, my Jean Grey. Put some heels on her and she's taller. He's the shortest on my list at 5'7". His age fits, the height fits. He works into that Daniel Radcliffe type of Wolverine fan cast, but way less weird. Josh was very soft in the Hunger Games, but he's an actor and I think that he could rev up. He's not my top choice, but I do think that he can do it. Alden Ehrenreich is my next choice at 31 and 5'9". You probably know him as Han Solo from the movie Solo. He has a gruff exterior and I really wanted someone with a box-shaped head. And I've heard some people cast him as Scott, but I don't see that at all. If he's gonna be anyone, he's gonna be Wolverine. Milo Gibson is next. This is a looks-based choice for me. He's 5'9" and 30, but he looks older than that to me. He also kind of looks like Hugh Jackman and gives off that vibe. He is Mel Gibson's son. Speaking of Hugh Jackman, I wouldn't bring him back as MCU Wolverine unless they're just going to be for a cameo. He was perfect for his time, but I want some new blood in here and someone a bit more comics accurate. But yeah, Milo Gibson is an option, but I wouldn't choose him ultimately. Next up, we have Logan Marshall Green, who is 44 and 5'11". So he's a little too old and a little too tall for the role, in my opinion. But I really liked him in Upgrade, and I liked him in Spider-Man Homecoming. Him being in the Spider-Man movies wouldn't be a problem because he had a very small role, and they could make him look different enough, like what they did with Gemma Chan. Also, we all know him as a Tom Hardy lookalike, and like everyone else, I wanted Tom Hardy to be Wolverine in the MCU, but he's Venom now, and once Venom ends, there is a chance that he could do both. Let me know what you think about that down in the comments down below. Now we are at my final and last choice for this video. We finally made it. My choice for Wolverine in the MCU has to be Taron Egerton. He's perfect. So perfect, in fact, that I literally had a dream about it. Taron is 31 and he's 5'9". He was in the Kingsman movies and Rocket Man. He was asked about being Wolverine and he said that he would love to. Him and Hugh Jackman are friends in real life, and I think that Hugh could possibly campaign for him to take his place. He also has the box-shaped head that I was talking about earlier, and he usually plays softer characters, but I do think that he could roughen up. I mean, Hugh was doing musicals before Wolverine. An actor can do it, and I think that Taron is a great actor. I think him and Abby would look very cute together and have good chemistry. I obviously love Jean and Scott together, but if there's going to be a love triangle, I want a believable one. We need to see why Wolverine falls instantly in love with her. In the Fox movies, it seems like it was just because she was pretty. I recently rewatched X1, and it's so weird for him to say that his heart belongs to someone else, referring to Jean when he just met her and has barely spoken to her. Jean's ability to make people fall for her comes from her genuine love and compassion. She makes everyone feel like they're worth something, and I want to see her telling Wolverine, you're not the monster they tried to make you, you're good, you can be happy, you deserve to be happy. She needs to be the person who gave him hope again. Sort of the same thing with Scott. She likes to try and fix broken people. She got that trait from her father figure, Professor Xavier. We have to see why people love her, not just because she's hot. Anyway, that tangent aside, Taron Egerton is my choice for the MCU Wolverine. I can also see him having a relationship with Kiki Lane as my Storm. He's my pick, and I feel like he can bring so much to this character. Now let's go through the final choices. We have Kiki Lane as Aurora Monroe Storm, Fionn Whitehead as Kurt Wagner Nightcrawler, Ella Balinska as Anna Marie Darkholme, aka Rogue, Oliver Jackson Cohen as Remy LeBeau, Gambit, Odeya Rush as Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat, Spencer Boldman as Piotr Rasputin, Colossus. And finally, Taron Egerton as Logan Howlett, Wolverine. I loved making this video. This is going to be a long one, and I'm so grateful if you stayed all the way through. I want to give a special thanks to Taron for encouraging me to continue making these and for all the support on these videos. All of the art is not mine, but I have edited the work. I will try to credit the original artist. If you've seen any that I didn't credit, please tell me in the comments down below. If you want a better look at the art, go to my Instagram at xmenedits, x_men_edits, and you will find it there. Side note, I want to start doing movie reactions because I would love to watch these movies with you guys. If you know how to do that, I would greatly appreciate the help and the advice. Thank you for watching my videos, and stay tuned for my next X-Men fan casting video. Goodbye, guys.